Okay, so today we're out at Raven Run. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, I only have 2 hours, so I'm going to break one of the rules of landscape photography, which is to slow down. As you may be able to tell, I forgot my hat, and in fact, I have reduced my weight for today's hike by doing several things. First, I don't have my regular pack on. I just have a hydration bladder. Second, I've got my camera with a single lens, so no telephotos today. I think I'll be able to get a couple of shots today. Not absolutely certain, but basically I'm going to be running around Raven Run for as much time as I have, trying to get photos at the locations that I want to get photos at. So, a little light on B-roll today. It's a little misty, not much fog, just remnants of a rainstorm. And so that means a couple of things. First, the trail is muddy as all get out. Second, I do need to slow down at some point so that I don't slip and fall on my ass, because that would be bad and unfortunate, and I don't plan on breaking anything while hiking today. Now, for photography, what that means is I did bring my filters with me. Specifically, I brought a polarizer, which should help me cut out any glare that's caused by the wet leaves and hopefully kind of make those fall colors pop. So yeah, hopefully everything works out. The rainstorm that came through here has, I'm going to use the word diminished the amount of fall color, mainly because we're kind of at an in-between stage where some of the stuff had turned, some of the stuff hadn't. And then the rainstorm hits, and of course what happens? But all of a sudden, the wind picks up, leaves start dropping, so there's leaves all around the ground. I mean, as you would expect, I'm not surprised by this. But unfortunately what that does mean is that we have a lot of bare trees. And, they probably look a lot nicer if they had their leaves on them, rather than on the ground. So, this aggravating Kentucky weather is going to ruin all of my fall shoots. I think it's determined to do it. Okay, so we're getting near the first of my shooting locations, which is the old Watergate, where, so previously in this area, there was a grist mill further on down the creek, and this is where the water gate was that helped control the flow to that mill. You can still see some remnants of it, but basically, if you weren't paying attention, you really wouldn't notice it. But it does provide a very good opportunity to take a picture of the creek with some hopefully colorful trees in the background. And it's relatively it's a short distance away from the trailhead, so that's why I'm stopping here first, because I'm pretty sure I can get an image here. At my second location, I'm not sure I can get an image, and so it's also farther on the trail. So might as well take the one that I know I'm probably going to get something good with. Alright, location 1 is done, and I have about an hour and a half to get to location 2, which, as it turns out, is the mill. Or, well, the remnants of the mill. It's not an actual mill anymore, it's just an organized pile of stones, really. Well, let's get to it. Okay, so we're almost at the mill. Now, people who are familiar, God, this phrase just sounds so pretentious. People who are familiar with my work will know this particular location as the one with all the cascades. It is truly an impressive sight to behold, and really, really loud. So, yeah, recording might not work down close to there, so what I'm going to attempt to do is obviously get a, well, hopefully I can get a longer exposure. Of course, I didn't bring my ND filter out, so that's a problem. And it might be a little tricky getting down there, but from what I'm seeing right now, there should be a lot of yellows in the area. So, hopefully this works nicely. There are a couple secondary locations I might also shoot at in this general area, depending on how I feel and how things look. But we managed to get here in a relatively short amount of time. Took a shortcut, obviously. And I'm hopeful that we can get some images out of this. Alright, so the audio might be unusable on this, but, well, let me go ahead and show you the cascades. Okay, so, I don't think there's necessarily a good shot of the cascades right now, because everything in that angle is dead. But I think if we shoot upstream this way, it might make for a nice, pleasing image. Alright, so that's one shot down here. I have surprisingly a extra 15 minutes that I wasn't expecting to have. So I might just go around and see what shots I can find. There are a couple locations that I might look at. Hopefully we got some decent images. Okay, so time's up. Gotta start heading back now. And if I may rant on something that I don't really have that strong of an opinion on, but which annoys me from time to time, is I hate other people on trails. I know most people aren't forwardly willing to admit that, because it makes you sound like a terrible, terrible person. But unfortunately, there are occasions when I don't want people in my shot. And of course, if you're sufficiently far away, like I just was, from those groups of people, you can't exactly say, hey, alright, I need you to vacate the area for a good 10-15 minutes while I go this other location and set up. Thanks, bye. Right, and I know most people are just going to say, you can just edit them out in post. And to an extent, sometimes, yes, you're right. To other times, no, you can't. It makes the image look absolutely terrible. Again, not really my full opinion. But sometimes I wish there were less people on the trail. Heading back out, probably should have plenty of time to get there before they kick me out for being delinquent. So overall, not super confident about today. You know, when I normally do this, if I do no photography, you know, don't bring any of the gear and just hike the trail, my average speed is about 2.5 miles an hour. Okay, so I'm not like blitzing through everything, but I'm not a slowpoke either, I don't think. And wow, like at that pace I could do this entire trail in about that time, about 2 hours. Which, you know, okay, fair enough. But when I'm taking photos, because I stop a lot, because I'm looking for photos and I'm setting up and tearing down and all that, and I take my time. You know, normally I'm about 1 mile an hour is the average rate when you include the stops in. So that means this entire trail system would take me 5 hours. Roughly, that's assuming I did the entire thing. Normally I do about a 2-3 mile loop, so sure, it takes me a couple of hours, but it's not really that bad. But man, having to come out here and being like, okay, no, I need to go here and then here and then here. Like, yeah, I know this well enough that I can pre-plan in my head, but it's just not worth it at the end of the day. Because there are probably, I don't know, a half dozen shots I probably missed. Right? Or a half dozen shots that I could have taken and maybe in post they would have turned out, or I would have learned something from the experience, is basically what I'm trying to say. So, until restrictions are lifted, I don't think I'm going to be coming back to Raven Run anytime soon. Which is unfortunate, because I really like it here and it's close to home. Much closer than the gorge. It's about an hour less drive. Which is nice, because, you know, gas is expensive. Alright, so that's it for Raven Run. You know, I think I've caught on the way back a couple of images. Hopefully I did. It's a toss up. Anyway, yeah, 2 hours isn't that long of a time when you're thinking about taking photos, so I don't know if I'll be back for a while. But, who knows. Maybe I'll just come out here for a hike and not worry about taking photos. But, you know, I like taking photos, so I'll probably go somewhere where it's more conducive to that. Alright, well, see you.